What's up, movie crew? Welcome to the latest Let's Watch for My Adventures with Superman. Today, I am talking episode 5, Do You Believe a Man Can Lie? And for anyone that's wondering, that's not some sort of ulterior motive or anything like that. It's just a play on words for Do You Believe a Man Can Fly? Alright, I want to warn everyone now, I'm going to have a playlist down below for the previous episodes that I've reviewed because this one, I cannot talk about it without getting into spoilers. So, you've been warned. Alright, at the end of the last episode, Lois kind of puts two and two together and realizes that Clark Kent and Superman are one and the same. And all of this is happening while Jimmy is trying to get everyone together for a fun weekend away from the office. Well, Clark can tell Lois is upset. Lois is trying to figure out that a way to get Clark to admit that he's Superman. And Jimmy's kind of feeling like third wheel, not realizing what's going on. Now I know I feel like I've probably just discussed some typical love triangle or a third wheel story. But I've got to say, out of the episodes so far, this one's probably my favorite, and I'm about to get into that in a minute. So, Superman's chasing down the people that have the Intergang weapons, and lo and behold, Lois is at one of those locations and handcuffs herself to Superman until he admits that he's Clark. And that leads to one very funny fight with one of the members of Intergang, where now Superman's not only trying to fight Intergang, but he's also trying to make sure they don't hit Lois. And there's one part of it where someone's getting ready to do something, and Lois ends up kicking the person, and it was great. But the part that I like the most is that they bring in what I don't think it was Cadmus. They didn't really say too much on it, but we get Amanda Waller. We get who I believe is General Lane. And we get Deathstroke, Slade Wilson himself. And I've got to say, they definitely changed it up a little bit on what Slade looks like in here. And they don't necessarily have him with an eye patch. He's just got that anime hair where you can't really see one of his eyes. But so far, to anyone at DC that ever watches this, y'all really need to do something else, something more with Deathstroke, because it feels like I can only think of one adaptation of Slade over the last, pretty much since Smallville, where I have been let down with his appearance or his performance. And Slade gets used a lot. But the fight between Deathstroke and Superman was great. So, I know it sounds like I'm just giving a recap instead of a review, but my inner fanboy just loved this episode. This episode was damn near perfect. They ended on a weird spot, which is probably the only thing I'm a little upset with, but given it's a serialized show, that kind of happens. But my overall thoughts, this is hands down the best episode so far. And as far as anything from DC's animated stuff over the last few years, excluding Young Justice, this is probably the best single episode of an animated thing DC has done since Justice League Unlimited. I stand behind that. excluding Young Justice, because we can't... I love that show a little too much to be going that far in the comparisons. But I would say since JLU ended, this is probably the best single episode of a DC animated show since then. 4.5 out of 5. If you are a DC fan, an animation fan, a Superman fan, or an anime fan, you really need to be watching this. It comes on midnights at Thursdays. It streams on Max the next day. Usually stuff starts on Max either at noon or 1 p.m. on the East Coast. So if you have not started watching this yet, do so. You don't need to worry about any future things. It's already been greenlit for a second season, and they've already started working on it. So you need to be watching this. And that's going to do it for this one. If you are new to this channel, hit that subscribe button. You like what you see, leave a thumbs up. Comment down below. Have you been watching my adventures with Superman? And if so, what are your thoughts? But that's going to do it for this one. Thank you all for watching, and tune in next time.